Now let's get up to more current speed now. I think it was back in May, the Speaker of your House had a little episode. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I live in what's largely considered to be the last great gerrymandered state in the United States, meaning that despite the fact that there are a ton more Republicans or a ton more Democrats in this state, Republicans control our legislature, including the Speaker of the House. And back in May, after months of originally denying COVID, denying the veracity of COVID, denying the need to wear masks, we learned that the Republican leadership found out that we'd all been exposed to COVID-19 right before sending us home for the holiday. And we learned that from a reporter and really had to pry information out of the speaker. And I went back to my office one day in the Capitol and flicked on my camera and tried to explain what was going on and without losing my cool. And I wasn't so successful at it. At the end of it, I called for him to resign. I did the same on the House floor later on, as I explained to my Republican colleagues why what they did was so wrong. And inevitably, he did resign. Resigned a couple of weeks later.
Wow, how cool is that? Action. And you've had a little skirmish the past 2 weeks too, haven't you?
Well, this will sound very familiar to you. You know how often LGBTQ people of color, immigrants, we get used as sort of the tip of the spear in a lot of fights, and I think that's been the case certainly in my legislature. I have a colleague, a senator who is a retired U.S. Army colonel, a former professor at the U.S. Army War College, who was instrumental in the drumbeat leading up to the attack on the Capitol on the 6th. He was a speaker before that and a speaker at the riot the day before. And, he used campaign funds to bus people from what he calls his army, Mastriano's army, to the Capitol that day. And while, we don't know yet if he was carrying a weapon, he hasn't answered that. We do know that, things like seditious conspiracy, sedition, treason are real, real terms of law, not just terms of art, and they have elements. And I believe his behavior has risen to those elements, and I think he should be prosecuted, and I think he should be expelled from the General Assembly.
Wow, that is shocking. Or is it? I mean, Pennsylvania is, that was one of the states that finally put Joe Biden over, which we were very thankful for. So how are things in Harrisburg right now?
They're complicated. There's no question about it. You mentioned that you had our lieutenant governor on the show, John Fetterman. Yeah. John Fetterman, aside from being the lieutenant governor, one of his duties is that he presides over the Senate. And that Senate is Republican controlled as well because of gerrymandering. And, on the first day of session during swearing in, they booted him out of the room, so to speak, and they refused to swear in one of our elected Democratic colleagues. And that's just under no degree of understanding of the American Constitution. Is that a part of how we're supposed to be governed? And so things are complicated, no question.